Here is the therapist position and focus for the neck. All right, as we get ready to transition into our rolling the neck technique, we just finished with our snow angels, and it's so important to remember that we're linking these things together to get the most bang for the buck. Now, as you're working with your patients, again, some of them are going to be a little on the uncoordinated side, and some of them are going to be a little nervous about being on this roller because it moves, and they feel like they're going to fall off the face of the earth. So it's really important that getting them off the roller in a way that doesn't just cause everything to tense and tighten up again is an important part of this process. So what I encourage my patients to do is that I encourage them, whatever side of the bed they get out on, that's the side I'm going to have them roll over onto the floor on. So nice and easy, Jenna is going to get out on the left side of the bed, so she's just going to roll over to that left side. She's going to come off the roller and then move the roller over. So now she's off the roller, everything is still nice and relaxed, and the brain feels safe and the nervous system feels like everything is good. We're just going to put the roller into our position for the neck technique. So what Jenna's going to do is she's just going to turn on her side, and she's essentially just going to use the roller almost like a pillow, like she was laying in bed. Now the beauty to this is that whether you have a super athlete, a college professional level athlete, or you have a 99-year-old senior that they can't just be up and about, they can do this technique. So anybody can do this. That's what makes relief through rolling so effective, is that we can literally do it with everybody. But again, if a patient is struggling with this technique laying down, maybe they have some shoulder discomfort or some hip discomfort, they can't lay on their side, we can always do the wall version. So again, whatever version that they need, whether it's the floor version or the wall or the chair versions, for all of these techniques, have them do what works best for them. So now that Jenna's right on her side, the key to this is that the roller is not necessarily going to be rolling. We're using the roller as a medium to be able to kind of move our tissue against. So just because the roller's not rolling doesn't mean that this is not going to be effective. So what we're going to do is Jenna's going to start right on her side. And we want to make sure that we keep our clients away from exaggerating and exasperating that forward head posture as she's in this position. So what a lot of people will do when they first start using the roller for the neck and the base of the skull is that they actually turn on their back. And then when they're in this position, what happens is that we can see now she's in a total forward head posture position. That's going to just stretch out and lengthen out these tissues that are already too forward because people are there all the time. So it's important that as we're working through this technique, they're not getting into this position. This is the opposite of what we're trying to produce. So we're going to put Jenna back on her side. And then nice and easy, she's going to have that roller tucked underneath her neck, and that roller is taking up that space of the neck. So what's beautiful about this technique and what's really effective is that it's working all of this tissue together. And how this is going to happen, stick or slow, what she's going to do is she's just going to slowly turn to about a 45-degree angle with her sternum and her belly button and her nose towards the ceiling. And so we want to make sure she doesn't come past that point, because past that point is where that head gets shoved forward. So what she'll do is that she'll just lift the head up just a little bit to take the pressure off. She repositions, and the actual technique, this is the start position, the actual technique comes from her stick or slow rolling towards her back, stopping at about that 45-degree angle, and then that's the end of the technique. Now, depending on the length of neck of your client or how big they are, if we're working with a 7-foot-tall basketball player, obviously their neck is longer. So what they may need to do is that they may actually need to move the roller up into another spot, and that's totally fine. For some people, this one position will cover the majority of the neck, and that's okay. But again, let them play with all of these different spots and find all of those spots that need this work. So for most people, moving it up a little bit is going to be an important factor on really increasing their awareness and knowing where all of their tight spots are. So I would have her do, 3 or 4 turns or rotations with this in each spot. Now, the beautiful part to this is that we can actually take this up into the muscles of chewing and mastication, into the jawline. So a lot of our patients who are having TMJ issues, a lot of tinnitus issues, a lot of our patients will report a decrease in tinnitus issues as we start working in and around the jaw and the ear. And it's the same technique. All she's going to do is she's going to roll from the front towards the back as she works that. And she's going to do 3 or 4 times in a particular area. And then we're going to add one more motion to this. So let's say she's working along and she finds a spot that kind of feels like something. It's not painful, but she finds a spot where maybe it feels tight. She's just going to use a gentle flexion and extension of her head where she's going to look up and down just a little bit, and that's going to work that tissue against that roller in a different way than what we were just doing before. And again, the key with this is getting the nervous system to be distracted enough to change the motor out. So as the sensory in changes, the brain can then change the motor out and let those tissues reset more to their original pre-tensional states. So maybe she even works this up a little bit more into her cheekbone so she can turn right on her side. She can put that roller in and along that zygomatic arch where that masseter is going underneath up into the skull. And then all of these different places, a lot of our patients even report that it feels like how hard their eyes are working change as well. As some of this outer tissue begins to soften, it can take pressure and tension off of the eyes. And then she can work this process all the way back onto the posterior aspect of her skull. So we don't want her to, again, transition to posterior, but what she can do to get some of those more posterior aspects is she rolls to her 45, and then she can rotate her head just a little bit to get to those posterior aspects, and she can do the same thing. She can just look up and down, flexion, extension, very gently, and then she can take this all the way into the temporalis as well, which is a big problem causer for headaches for a lot of people. So as she goes right back on her side, she just rolls that roller up into whatever aspect of that temporal region she needs to work to be able to help soften and facilitate change. So she can roll like the rolling technique that we were doing where she rolls her body, or when she finds a spot, she can look up and down just a little bit to get the change within that tissue. And this is an excellent way to help your clients have a tool for themselves to be able to manage their neck pain, their headaches, jaw pain, ear pain, tinnitus issues. We have patients all over the country who are reporting huge benefits and improvements with all of these symptoms. And that's going to conclude our rolling the neck technique.